it can happen again. And when it does, South Carolinians expect someone to be ready. Fortunately, the South Carolina Emergency Management Division is ready. The people of this state can go about their lives with the assurance that one division of state government is responsible for seeing that plans and preparations are made for whatever might come, and for coordinating the response to any emergency. The professionals at the Emergency Management Division know that disasters will strike again. The only questions are when and where. The Emergency Management Division is the part of state government charged with coordinating all the preparations for a disaster. The division coordinates personnel, equipment, and facilities during and after an emergency. The division is a branch of the Military Department of South Carolina under the Adjutant General. But during major emergencies, reports directly to and advises the governor. The Emergency Management Division is not a regulatory agency, but it has a vital mission and a history of bringing together whatever is needed when emergencies arise. The primary goal is to manage resources to save lives, reduce human suffering and property loss, and to get communities back to a normal routine as quickly as possible. To that end, the division manages the statewide emergency management program through a process of planning, training, and exercising. Partnerships are essential. State agencies, county and municipal governments, hospitals, volunteer organizations, and an assortment of private sector entities have plans and resources ready to respond when an emergency arises. All these plans and resources are part of the state emergency management system. The division plays a key role in planning in South Carolina. It coordinates with state and federal agencies and volunteer organizations to develop and update state-level plans for all hazards. In addition, the division provides technical assistance for developing and updating emergency plans specific to the local level. The division's planning process is designed to produce plans that provide for flexibility in rapidly changing situations. But putting a plan on paper and knowing how to carry it out are not at all the same thing. The many people responsible for implementing emergency plans in South Carolina receive training and practice from the division through hundreds of courses it provides to thousands of professionals statewide every year. Once written, plans are evaluated using drills and exercises in which participants respond to simulated emergencies just as if they were real. As lessons are learned, plans are revised. But the ultimate test of any emergency plan is a real event. In an actual emergency, whatever the kind or size, the planning and training face their greatest test. South Carolina faces many hazards, natural, man-made, and technological. The most likely events to trigger a full-scale response at the Emergency Management Division are natural disasters, notably hurricanes, tornadoes, and flooding. In 2004, many major storms affected South Carolina. In August and September alone of that same year, there were 76 confirmed tornadoes. Most South Carolinians are not aware that in 1886, the largest earthquake ever recorded in the eastern United States jolted residents in and around Charleston. The magnitude of the destruction left people homeless and disrupted commerce for weeks. Today, a similar quake could cause many injuries and deaths, and the collapse of dams, bridges, and other structures. The division is helping South Carolina prepare for that reality. The possibility of a terrorist using a weapon of mass destruction has increased in recent years. The division would play an essential role in managing the consequences if such an attack occurred. Every year, there are hundreds of chemical spills and other hazardous material accidents in this state, and the potential exists for incidents that could involve mass casualties. When an incident such as a major chemical spill occurs, as was the case when chlorine spilled after the train wreck at Graniteville in early 2005, the Emergency Management Division is prepared. At the governor's direction, the division coordinates assets from all of state government to assist the counties and their first responders. The division also provides its own specialized assets, including critical communications equipment. 24 hours a day, every day of the year, the Emergency Management Division monitors incidents from the State Warning Point, a highly sophisticated communication center. Law enforcement agencies, county and municipal emergency managers, and control centers at nuclear facilities provide information directly to Warning Point personnel, who monitor everything from significant weather events to hazardous chemical spills. An incident that intensifies is a signal to move to a higher level of readiness. As the situation escalates, the director may activate the state-of-the-art Emergency Operations Center, the high-tech control room from which the state's response to that situation is coordinated 24 hours a day. The EOC can then be staffed with members of the State Emergency Response Team, a group of professionals representing government, volunteer organizations, and the private sector. The goal of their collective efforts is to protect the lives and property of South Carolina citizens. While the Emergency Operations Center is activated, the director is in frequent contact with the governor of South Carolina, who may choose to utilize a special briefing room in the EOC to become an active part of the decision-making process and to authorize the use of additional state assets. Just what state assets do local governments need in an emergency? The type of incident determines the response. Small-scale, local incidents can be successfully managed with local assets. But as incidents grow in scope, they usually require increased state assistance. In South Carolina's response to a major hurricane, for example, many state assets are involved and planned for. Law enforcement personnel help guide traffic during evacuation. Transportation assets help deal with roadways and bridges. Volunteer and state assets provide shelter, food, and water to thousands of displaced people. National Guard personnel help provide security and resources. Aircraft facilitate surveillance of the situation, and so on. If a situation is serious enough for the President to declare a disaster, the South Carolina Emergency Management Division acts as a liaison with FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, which is a part of the National Department of Homeland Security. Every community is at risk for some form of disaster. Part of the division's job is to help local governments identify hazards and develop plans that, through a process called hazard mitigation, will minimize the effects of a disaster. The Emergency Management Division provides local and county officials with expertise that details ways to reduce possible problems before they happen. Improving building codes, adopting new zoning ordinances, and reinforcing dams and bridges are just a few opportunities. South Carolina is vulnerable to many types of emergencies. That's why the Emergency Management Division is ready, as are state and local agencies, to handle a wide variety of situations. That's their responsibility, but every citizen has a responsibility too. You can learn how to prepare by reading the awareness brochures provided by the division. Pay close attention during awareness campaigns for severe weather, hurricanes, and earthquakes. Some disasters, like hurricanes, give advance warning and provide time to get ready. In those cases, it's important to pay attention to news broadcasts, prepare accordingly, and follow the advice of local authorities. Most disasters strike unexpectedly, though. If hours go by before outside agencies can reach you, would you be ready? Every family should have a plan and a disaster kit, water, food, flashlights and batteries, a first aid kit, and any special medications. Remember, too, that disasters can strike during the day when you're at work. If you own a business, large or small, it should have an emergency plan. You and your employees should know where to meet family members when the immediate emergency is over. Think about neighbors, too. Is there someone who will need extra help? We don't know when or where the next disaster will strike. But we know for certain that emergencies and disasters will occur. Thanks to the preparations and presence of the Emergency Management Division, the people of South Carolina can go about the business of living their lives, knowing that the South Carolina Emergency Management Division is on the job